I'm currently earning about 20% in one of the DeFi strategies that I'm following. My goal in this video is to just talk through and demonstrate the strategy and show you where the yield comes from. One of the challenges we have in DeFi is that the yield can vary quite quickly, and there's a number of different factors influencing the yield. So let's get into it. 1 month ago, I deposited $1,000 onto the Creda money market, and we can see here that I've still got $500 worth of USDC and no longer $500 worth of wrapped Bitcoin. It's down to 368. So on one hand, that's not great. On the other, it's not so bad because I'm going to be buying some more wrapped Bitcoin today, and because the price has gone down, I'll be able to get more. So on the collateral side, my value is $868. And then over on the borrowed side, what I'm doing is borrowing some Luna and some wrapped staked ETH, and then I'm LPing this over on the Terra Liquidity Alliance, and these are the rewards I've earned in literally 1 month. And I'm in this LP here, the Luna wrapped staked ETH LP. So I don't actually own these assets. These are assets that I'm borrowing on Creda here. Just looking at the rewards I've earned so far, it's over $20 in a month. And if that was to go across the whole year, that'd be $240 in a year earned on $1,000 initial collateral. So that'd be 24%. So that sounds pretty good, but I do have to remember that I've got borrowing costs for these assets here. So just my Luna borrow cost this month, I borrowed 2,500 Luna 1 month ago, so my interest has been 63 Luna. So if we check Astroport, 63 Luna, I don't want Astro. Okay, so 63 Luna is $4. So we'd have to reduce this by $4, so down to 17. So if we work out what the APR would be on $17 earned a month, so $17 multiplied by 12 months gives us 204. And if we divide that by the initial $1,000 that I deposited, still gives me just over 20%. So that still seems pretty good. So what I'm going to be doing today is adding to this position. I'm going to deposit more wrapped Bitcoin in here. I'm going to borrow some more Luna. The APY at the moment is quite high, but it's not always this high. So if we go to the markets tab, we can see all the assets that we can borrow and lend on Creda. And if we click into Luna and look over the last, I'll be honest with you, the details here are really nice. So if we look at the last month, so that's the Luna that's supplied, and this is the borrow information. So this is telling us the APY, the APR over the last month. And we can see that it's been up at around about 60, then going along at sort of mid 30s, high 30s for a while, then went down to 20-ish. So this is all looking good, and then spiked up again, not so good, 95, 94, and then currently we're back at sort of mid 50s. So ideally there'd be more Luna supplied, which would then make the borrowing costs a little bit cheaper. And that would definitely help out what I'm trying to do here. So with the wrapped staked ETH, that's not so high just now, but if we look back at the Terra Liquidity Alliance, and yeah, when I went into this position, the APR on this pool was mid 70s. So it was a lot more attractive at the start of last month. So I'm just going to order these by APR and see if I can find another pool that might make sense to go into. And we've got this one here, the Luna USDC LP. So this might be worthwhile. And if I do this one, I wouldn't have to borrow one side of the LP. So that would reduce the borrowing costs a little bit. And it still has this sort of round about 60% APR. And where's the one I'm in? So yeah, that's mid 50s. So yeah, this one's definitely a little bit higher. So I think that is what I'm going to go for today. So back on Creda, I'm not going to be depositing any, or maybe I'll deposit a little bit of USDC. So the way it works, let's just turn on all the assets that I can supply. Okay, so I could, why is it saying insufficient wallet balance? Maybe I need to refresh. No, I know what it is. I've got assets on Noble, not on Terra. So let's get these over. So just so you can see, yes, I've got $1,000 on Noble. And this is what's great about IBC. We can just send these so quickly. Going to be a cross-chain send to Terra. And I'm going to do $1,000. And just approve that. And this should be hopefully within about 30 seconds or so. Okay, perfect. And then if I just refresh Creda, we should hopefully see that the $1,000 has been sent across that quick. Right, so I'm going to supply, I want to take $250 from this 1,000 to use in the LP. I'm going to borrow another 200, sorry, not that LP. I'm going to go in the Astroport one. It's a little bit higher APR. So I'm going to put $250 USDC in the LP. I'm going to borrow $250 worth of Luna, and I'm going to deposit the rest, the 750, into Creda as collateral. But I'm not going to deposit it all as USDC. I want to keep building this wrapped Bitcoin position, and then hopefully over the next year, 2 years, Bitcoin is going to go above its current price, and then I'll be able to profit on that as well. So let's go to Astroport. We'll do the first swap, which is going to be USDC to wrapped Bitcoin. And there's various versions, but the one that we're using on Creda as collateral is this Eureka version, which comes from Cosmos Hub or via Cosmos Hub. So $500. Not amazing price impact, so I'm losing a bit there, but we'll just go for it anyway. So in the grand scheme of things, if Bitcoin goes back up to all-time highs or above 100,000, that's not going to be too much of an issue. And then while that swap is waiting to go through, I can go into Creda and I can supply $250 from my remaining 500. And that's just improving my health factor. This is really nice. And that's going to improve my LTV. Okay, so that's the USDC going on, so that should go up to 750. Yep. And we can see that the wrapped Bitcoins popped in, didn't have to refresh the page or anything. So another thing I like about Creda, just working nice and fast. So we'll supply this, we'll do all of it. And that's improving my health factor even more, LTV down to 18%. So we'll supply that. So in total, I put in $1,000 last month and I'm putting in $1,000 this month, basically $1,000 each month, just building this portfolio. So that is essentially what I've put in, $750 worth of USDC. I have put in total in dollar value, $1,000 into this wrapped Bitcoin, but because of the price going down, it's unfortunately, or it's now a lower dollar amount, but that's totally okay. And what was nice, if we go up here, very healthy, current LTV, 18%. So I'm kind of happy enough with an LTV round about 33%. I don't want to go over 40. I just want to be able to leave this position running without having to worry too much about having to cover things if there's too much volatility. So rather than repaying my Luna, I want to see what's going to happen if I borrow another I want to borrow about 200, well, let's just see what I can borrow without affecting my LTV too much. So if I borrow 3,000 Luna, what's going to happen to my LTV? Okay, so still below 33. What about 3,200? Ideally, I want about $250 worth of Luna, so 3,500, let's see. Okay, let's go 3,600, keep pushing it. Okay, I'm going to go even higher, 3,800. What's happening? Okay, perfect. LTV 33 and a bit. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to borrow. So let's go for that. And as I was saying earlier, what I'm going to do with this Luna is pair it with the remaining USDC that I have and put it onto the Terra Liquidity Alliance to earn some yield. So that's, in fact, I've got these rewards here. I might as well claim these. And there's various things I could do with these. I could turn them into cash. I could put them in a different LP. So let's just claim these. And they're claimed as AMP Luna, that's fine. So I've now got this $21-ish of rewards. I'm going to go back to Astroport. I just want to build more wrapped Bitcoin exposure. So what I'm going to do is swap that. And I think I need to refresh this page here. Didn't dynamically update. I love websites that dynamically update. I think that's so cool. Okay, so we've got the AMP Luna here. And to swap that into wrapped Bitcoin, I wonder what the price, price impact's quite, it's favorable. Or, sorry, not favorable, it's not too bad, so that's fine. And we'll just swap. And what I can do with this is put it back into Creda as well, just make my position a little bit more secure. Or I could keep it in my wallet, keep things separate, but no, I'll put it into Creda. Oh, maybe I need to refresh here. Okay, and supply this. $22.30, that's fine, supply. And then as far as the LP is concerned, I've now got Luna in my wallet, I've now got USDC in my wallet. I want to LP. I typically set up the LPs on Astroport. And let's just have a look. I could deposit, in fact we can do it here, that's fine. So yeah, we've done swapping on Astroport, we've done borrowing and lending on Creda, and I'm going to do LPing on Eris. So we'll just do it pool ratios. I don't want to auto compound, I want to get the rewards out. So we'll uncheck that. And okay, so I don't want to do all my Luna because then I'm going to have nothing for transaction fees. So I'll keep 3.6. And this is not going to use up the full 250 but of USDC, but that's okay. Deposit that. Sign the transaction in my wallet. I'm going to reorder these by the ones I've deposited into, and we can see them here. So that's roughly $500, roughly, I don't know, 284. So hopefully over the next month, I'm going to see an increase in the yield. So in 1 month, I earned $20. So how much am I going to earn over the next month? What I'm going to do is in 1 month's time, film another video just to show you how much I've earned from both these LP positions, as well as what's been happening on Creda to my collateral values and also the borrow. So at the moment, and this is something worth noting, is the Luna, or my Luna borrow position, is 6,363. So where's this going to go over the next month? Is there going to be an increase in the Luna supply, which would be great and hopefully drive down the borrowing costs? Or are people going to just keep borrowing Luna hard with no real increase in the supply, meaning the APY is going to go even higher? So that would be not great for my overall yield, even though the yield that I'm going to earn here looks pretty impressive, around about 60%. But I do have to bear in mind that there is a borrowing cost for the assets that I'm borrowing on Creda. For my first month with this portfolio, I'm quite happy with the yield that I was able to generate, and the borrowing costs weren't too high for my liking. One thing I'm going to be monitoring over the next month is the yield that I'm able to generate on the Terra Liquidity Alliance compared to the cost of my borrowing on Creda. As long as the average APY is round about 20%, maybe as low as 15%, I'm quite happy running this strategy. But if the yield I'm able to generate using Creda and Terra Liquidity Alliance falls lower to maybe 10% or so, that's when I might think about changing the strategy and doing something different. Hopefully you found this interesting. I look forward to seeing you again. Cheers.